Hi, I'm Kevin Kuchenbecker, Historic Preservation Officer for the City of Deadwood, and this is a moment in Deadwood's history. Our partners at Deadwood History are great for putting this on for us, and we thank them. I'm here with Jana Morehouse, Principal Investigator with Quality Services, and we just did a video on where we're at in the archaeological investigation for the 4 Points by Sheridan construction project. We talked a little bit about the features and that we found several artifacts. We were going to do a follow-up video next week, but due to our viewing audience, they were excited to see the artifacts now. So we unveiled some of the ones that have been found. There's hundreds of thousands of these that have come out.
There's a lot of artifacts so far. We have boxes and boxes and boxes. I'm guessing we're in the tens of thousands of artifacts at this point. And what we have today to show everybody is kind of the best of the best. It's the stuff that is noticeable in terms of what it actually is. We don't have to do a ton of research because you can tell what they are. And so this is kind of the good stuff.
So in the last video we talked about the 1891 Sanborn fire insurance maps show that this was part of Chinatown, that it was dwellings and gaming houses. Well, some of the artifacts relate back to that. And in fact, if I may pick this up, this is a Chinese coin. It's got lettering or symbolism on it. And in the archaeological investigation from 2001 to 2004, we found several of these as well. This is a nice piece. Mm-hmm. Very nice. And it's one of several coins that we found.
Yeah, and what's great about this is Chinese writing. And so Deadwood does have a partner in California that can take these words and basically translate them for us.
And date them.
Yep, and date them.
The earliest coins we found across the street were over 1,000 years old. Yeah. And so not necessarily used for exchange of currency, but sometimes they were gaming pieces or used in religious ceremonies by the Chinese of the time.
Yep, as offerings, yep.
The other gaming device is the domino. What do we have there? That's a wooden?
This is a wooden domino. It looks like a 3 across and a 4 underneath, and it's in great condition right now. It's fairly heavy, so it's some kind of a very good hardwood for sure.
And then there was marbles and poker chips were found here as well. So whether they were doing dominoes, fan-tan, different gaming of that late 1870s to 1920s, gambling, and it still is here today with legalized gaming. Alka-Seltzer, plop, plop, fizz, fizz. Let's look at that.
Yeah. This is Bromo Seltzer right here, and it is from the Emerson Drug Company. And so this would have had probably small pills that were the early Alka-Seltzer pills. So it's this gorgeous blue and it's all intact. It is not stopped up. This is mud in here. So when it goes to Deadwood, and if they choose to put it on display, say at the Adams Museum or somewhere like that, then it will be cleaned out and really, really shined up.
So we have Alka-Seltzer. We also found a Red Raven, which was a hangover cure bottle. And then we also found some Worcestershire. That's the one that's tough for me.
Yep.
A Worcestershire bottle that still had the sauce still in the container.
Yeah, it looks like the sauce is still there. So.
Obviously, a daily object. This is an inkwell, which is beautiful. And look at the side of it. It has a rabbit.
Has 3 rabbits.
Rabbits. And that's probably from the 1890s?
Yep. Some of our research that we were able to do already has an H on the bottom that's really hard to see it unless you're there here with us. But it says it's about from the 1890s, as an inkwell.
And then we also have some other china. People may have noticed this if they go to a Chinese restaurant, the little spoon. Is that right?
Yeah, it's a little like a soup spoon or a noodle spoon. It's got a great flower pattern on it. No markings on the bottom.
And about what depth was that found?
That was found at about 120 centimeters to 140 centimeters down.
So about 3 feet from where we're standing.
Yeah,
so it's up here instead of down where our feet are.
We have one more.
One more with some symbols. And so these are called diagnostic. And why is it diagnostic?
So it's diagnostic because it's a clue as to both who made it and when they would have made it and where it would have come from. We can find all of that information by this little stamp here at the bottom. And this is like a Chinese porcelain stamp. And so we can take it back to our offices, or if it goes to the Deadwood Historic Preservation Office, someone could do research on other ceramics that look like this and find out exactly when it would have come from.
And that's more than likely hand painted and everything else. Now this is just a shard of one, but it's important because we have the diagnostic, the maker's mark on it.
Yeah.
We have found some that are full pieces, which may have been broken. Some of them are, we can put them back together and become museum pieces to show at the Days of 76 Museum, the Adams Museum, and the other loans. Now, we've talked about gaming, we've talked about daily wear. Vice has been known in Deadwood for quite some time. You know, we the last brothels, in fact, we have a brothel museum opening up this summer on Main Street. It was closed in 1980. We have legalized gaming today. We talked about the gaming. But at the 1876 to 1920s, there was other vices. Obviously tobacco. We have a tobacco pipe, which has lettering on it.
This is a clay pipe. So it's filled with mud currently, but this would have gone, there's a hole all the way through. And it has this
maker's mark on there.
Maker's mark, yeah, and it actually says France. So somebody fancy was smoking from a French pipe here in Deadwood.
Very cool. And then we have a couple of things dealing with opium. This is a vial which could have held a single dose of opium, correct? Mm-hmm. And then you also have part
of a pipe here. And I'll show it a couple ways. It would have connected to something right here. There's this bit. And this is also clay or ceramic. See through it.
So very, very cool. It tells us a little bit about the history of Deadwood, what was happening. It adds to our story. It continues to piece the puzzle together. And as I said in the last video, we don't have a lot of physical evidence of that 1876 to 1900 or 1890s with missing maps that this area wasn't recorded. So we have the photographs of what was here. We have the physical record of the features we talked in the last video. And now we have the artifacts that further tell the story of what was happening in Chinatown. So hopefully you enjoyed this portion of A Moment in Deadwood's History, and that's a wrap.